Imagine someone you love dies today. You know what happens next. Phone calls, a funeral, flowers, a burial. You know this ritual so well you could sleepwalk through it. But here is the thing. Almost none of it is old. And what humans actually did when someone died, for most of history, is far stranger and far more human than anything a modern funeral home has ever offered you. The oldest known deliberate burial on record is 300,000 years old. Not Homo sapiens, Homo naledi, a small-brained hominin discovered in a cave system in South Africa. Paleoanthropologist Lee Berger found that this creature, with a brain one-third the size of yours, was carrying its dead deep into narrow cave passages in near-total darkness. Deliberately, repeatedly. A creature we assumed was too primitive to care was doing something that looked unmistakably like grief. Neanderthals buried their dead too. At Shanidar Cave in Iraq, archaeologist Ralph Selecki found a burial 60,000 years old, alongside clusters of medicinal flowers. Someone chose specific plants and placed them with the dead. Red ochre, a pigment with no practical use, was pressed onto bones at burial sites across Europe. Color applied to the dead with intention. That is not disposal. That is care. In Songhir, Russia, 34,000 years ago, 2 children were buried covered in over 10,000 hand-drilled ivory beads. Each bead took nearly an hour to make. Someone spent years of cumulative labor honoring children who were already gone. That was not practical. It was the opposite of practical. And that is exactly the point. Grief makes humans impractical. It always has. Every culture that has ever existed has had rituals for the dead. Every single one. Anthropologist Thomas Lynch cataloged mortuary practices worldwide and found no known human society, past or present, that leaves its dead without ceremony. Not one. Why? Because the brain does not know how to process permanent absence. It keeps reaching for the person. It keeps expecting them to appear. Neuroscientist Mary Frances O'Connor found that grief is not simply an emotion. It is a learning process. The brain built a predictive model of the world that included the person you loved. When they die, that model cannot update instantly. The rituals give the brain something structured to do with a loss it cannot metabolize any other way. The Neanderthal placing flowers in a cave 60,000 years ago was doing the same thing you do when you sit beside a casket and do not know what to say. The community drilling ivory beads for children already gone was doing the same thing you do when you cannot stop looking at photographs. Death has not changed in 300,000 years, and neither has the way your species refuses, every time, in every language, in every landscape on Earth, to let it pass without witness.